I'm Kalila Reynolds, and welcome to Taking Stock. We're bringing you all the latest business news and telling you how it will affect you and your money. Come on, let's get this money. First up, Jamaica's first ever licensed hemp farm has just opened in Westmoreland. We'll tell you all about it. And later, the analysts weigh in on the latest stock market developments. 2 IPOs open and close in one day. But first, here's What's Hot, brought to you by Jamaica Money Market Brokers, your best interest at heart. The Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, held its second Access to Finance panel last week. Their goal is to create a financial system that's friendlier towards small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs. The latest round of discussions focused on improving SMEs' access to financing. This includes getting credit bureaus to expand their credit information database to prepare robust credit reports for SMEs. Lighting and electrical company Orick broke ground last week for a new warehouse and distribution center at their headquarters on Malines Road. Construction of the 30,000 square foot building is to begin in 2 weeks. Orick CEO Cecil Foster says the project is the first phase of a major expansion of their corporate area location. Foster says Phase 2 will include full development of 110,000 square feet of space over the next 2 years to incorporate food, entertainment, and other facilities. The project is being financed by Grace Kennedy Pension Scheme. Orick listed on the junior market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange in December 2017. The Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ, has launched its redesigned Credit Enhancement Facility, CEF. It's being hailed as a game changer for companies that need financing but don't have enough security. The CEF is a partial loan guarantee that helps MSMEs without enough collateral to access loans from financial institutions. So far, agreements have been signed with Sagicor Bank, JMMB Bank, NCB, and First Heritage Cooperative Credit Union. Others have also expressed serious interest. The CEF is available to viable enterprises and projects that earn less than $425 million in revenue a year, are tax compliant, and have good credit history. The Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, is projecting that the economy grew by 0.3% between July and September. The actual numbers will be presented by Statin at a later date. PIOJ Director General Dr. Wayne Henry says the higher employment numbers played a role in the country's growth. However, he says agriculture, mining, and tourism declined. The PIOJ boss says several delays in major projects also impacted the construction industry. The Jamaican dollar started rebounding last week after several interventions from the Bank of Jamaica. It had lost more than 5% of its value since early October, hitting a record low of $142.23 against the U.S. The weakened currency prompted concern from many sectors of society, compelling the BOJ to sell some $140 million to the market in 5 flash auctions. But it wasn't until the last $20 million sale that the local currency finally started strengthening. In that sale, the BOJ stipulated that all the funds must be resold to end users, meaning non-financial institutions that need it to pay for goods and services. The dollar opened trading on Monday, selling at an average $138.22 to $1 US. What's Hot was brought to you by Jamaica Money Market Brokers, your best interest at heart. When we come back, wellness company Virtudes has opened Jamaica's first licensed hemp farm in Westmoreland. You'll hear all about it. Taking Stock is filmed on location at I Create Studio on Hope Road.
There's a surplus of unfilled jobs in the creative industry. Kickstart a creative career with I Create Institute.
Now I'm at I Create. I just love it.
I saw where I was learning things that I could utilize in my present job.
And I have all the skills to do every basic animation thing now.
Jumpstart a creative career with I Create Institute at UCC. Visit icreateedu.com.
This segment of Taking Stock is brought to you by Bulwark Insurance Agent. Insurance made easy. Welcome back to Taking Stock. Wellness company Virtudes has opened up a hemp farm in Westmoreland. It's Jamaica's first, and they plan to manufacture products such as body oils, scrubs, various different things. So we're joined now by Chairman and CEO of Virtudes Company, Jamil Jameson, and Chief Operating Officer of the company as well, Farah Zaragaran. Welcome to Taking Stock.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right, so Jamil, tell us how you got into this business. Well, you grew up in Westmoreland, right?
Yes, for a period of my time. Then I migrated to the United States. Previous to the hemp business, I've been in the commodity trading business, so therefore...
So oil,
yes,
metals?
Exactly.
Okay.
And, minerals, so that's how I gradually,
So what made you decide on coming back to Jamaica and pursuing this hemp business?
And due to it's only right come back to Jamaica because Jamaica has the cannabis culture embedded in it. A year ago, my dad, he passed of, cancer. So, as you know, we're farming hemp, for medicinal use. So therefore, a lot of different product can be derived from hemp, to treat different kind of ailments, as you know.
So Farah, tell me how you two linked up, because you're originally from Iran.
Correct. I was raised in the United States, and Jamil and I have known each other for about 7, going on 8 years, and we're both very passionate about business and helping our communities. So when we saw an opportunity to help his community and saw kind of where the cannabis industry was going, we decided to go ahead and venture into the business. So our qualities really matched perfectly for this. So when we saw that vision, we decided to just leap forward, and our personalities collide so well, and we decided, let's bring that to the world. Let's make it something bigger than us, and bring that to Jamaica.
And you've actually relocated here, because as COO, you'd have to be here.
That's right. That's correct. So working on my work permit, and we'll be permanently down here in Jamaica. So picking up on the little knickknacks here and there. So it's
pick up
it's
any
really
other language
nice.
yet?
Of course, a lot of times people look at me and they're like, "Do you understand what I'm saying?" And of course.
All you have to say is "Yeah, man."
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, my favorite is "Me no no."
Me no no. That's a good phrase to know.
Yes.
So Jamil, tell me, why hemp and not ganja or cannabis sativa?
Due to the fact, as you know, the Farm Bill has passed in the United States. In reference to hemp, there's marijuana, it has like a higher THC.
Right.
Hemp has a lower THC, so therefore there's a demand, and there's kids out here in the world who suffer from seizures. And
so hemp still has the same medicinal qualities that sativa has? Because I thought hemp was more for industrial purposes, like you make clothes and different things out of it.
No, there's really 2 kinds of hemp. There's industrial hemp and craft hemp. And here in Jamaica, we don't want to focus on industrial hemp because that's the male and female plant, and that can pollinate the ganja fields. It can actually even pollinate our hemp fields, our craft hemp fields.
Oh.
So we want to stay far, far away from industrial hemp because that would actually affect our craft hemp, medicinal hemp farms.
I was wondering about that because I saw some people on Twitter saying they thought that Jamaica is supposed to be hemp-free because of the same concern about the cross-pollination. And
yes, an industrial crop could actually destroy our medicinal hemp crop. So we just want that to be very clear that we are not in any way interested in farming industrial hemp. We are focused on medicinal hemp, which means this is a high CBD strain and it must be cultivated just like a ganja plant. We have no intention at all of transplanting any male plants into any open field. It will be only feminized seeds, only female plants inside of a greenhouse.
so you don't still run the same risk of the cross-pollination, or is it that even if there is cross-pollination, it's not an issue?
No, we have to limit any risk of cross-pollination as much as possible because that could destroy our entire medicinal hemp crop. So we have to take very, very good care of our crop and that's really where the technique comes in, and that's why we're so proud of our local growers that we have, because a lot of them have been doing this for a long time, and a lot of them have been farming ganja. So they can look at a seed and tell you this is male or female. They can look at a plant and tell you this may be a hermaphrodite, because what a lot of people don't realize is you may be sold an entire batch of feminized seeds, but there still may be that one hermaphrodite in there, which means that it could be male or female, right? And so then you have, 50 acres or 20 acres, and then that one hermaphrodite could turn into a male and destroy your entire crop. So that's a huge risk for us as well as a craft hemp company. We need to protect our crop.
So tell me about the process in getting to this point, getting the license. Was it difficult, Jamil?
No, it was, we just followed the guidelines and the protocols,
By the Cannabis Licensing Authority?
Yes, precise, yes.
Now, how long did it take you from start to no?
Start to finish, about a year or so. Because, I'm assuming that there's other candidates that, had put in your application. I know the CLA, they're pretty, busy.
So, Farah, were there any difficulties with going through that process with the CLA?
No, there were no difficulties. The CLA is actually very advanced in what they're doing, and we respect their commitment to the regulations that they have here in Jamaica. So it was all about making sure that we are well educated and that we know exactly what they're asking for so that we can provide that to them and make it a seamless process for everybody.
It's interesting you guys say that, because the experience that I've heard with some of the farmers and the people here in Jamaica who've been trying to get involved in the industry, they're saying it's difficult, it's tedious, it's expensive. How much did you guys put into this business?
Thus far?
Thus far?
Over $1 million.
$1 million US?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's for how big of a property?
113 acres.
Is it comparable to other places in the world? I'm not sure what type of research you would have done going into it.
Yes, absolutely. In the United States, they're farming thousands of acres. So our project looks a little bit small compared to what's going on around the world. For example, in Texas, they will be farming hundreds of thousands of acres. So, we want to be courteous, but we also want to be able to provide a commercial grade quality product from such a strong country like Jamaica that has such beautiful climate, and bring that not only to our locals, but also to the world as well.
So tell us about the types of products that you plan to start manufacturing.
The oil, as you're familiar with the CBD oil.
What does that do?
It depends, you have the oils that, it like helps you to sleep, and it relaxes you, calms your nerves, and eventually we're going to venture off in creating capsule whenever, we have to do a bit more, research and development on that end, and then we're going to add as it go on, because we would like to perfect, all the byproducts that we make.
And you plan to export these?
Correct. So we've received a lot of interest from different countries, but we also have a reserve for right here in Jamaica. As you know, a lot of the pharmacies, for example, Fontana, already carry a variety of hemp products. One of our friends recently sent us a picture of hemp flour that he had in a local market right in Westmoreland. So as he said, we're focused on oil tinctures, capsules, and helping some serious diseases that stem from epilepsy, anywhere from Parkinson's, and then also cancer research and development, things along those lines, where these are things that we could manage before they become serious illnesses.
So when will the first crop be reaped?
The end of first quarter.
So, and that is when?
That's going to be March.
In March.
Yes.
Okay. and then you'll be ready for production. So you have like a factory there too. How does that process work? Because I know you have the farming aspect, but then the manufacturing is also another process. So how does that go?
We will begin with just cultivating for now and letting the professionals handle the manufacturing until we have our facility open. So there's some infrastructure that still has to go into the works. So for now we are focused on cultivating.
Okay. All right. Well, all the best when it comes. Looking forward to seeing it on the shelves eventually. It will be under what brand? Have you decided yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. We'll look out for it. Thanks again, Farah and Jamil. When we come back, we'll have your market recap, and the analysts are standing by.
This segment of Taking Stock was brought to you by Bulwark Insurance Agency. Insurance made easy. 88 stocks traded across both the main and junior markets of the JSE for the week ending Friday, November 22, 2019. 31 advanced, 47 declined, and 10 traded firm. Wigton Wind Farm traded the most, with people buying and selling nearly 50 million shares in the company. The company's stock fell 3 cents to close the week at 98 cents each. Sagicor Select Fund Financial continued its decline, with people buying and selling 45 million shares in the company. The stock closed at $1.09. And Jamaica Broilers Group rounds up the volume leaders, making up 22% of last week's trading, with 43 million shares changing hands. Its stock price jumped nearly $2 to close the week at $38. Turning to the top advancers now, 138 Student Living saw the biggest gain, its share price jumping a whopping 32% to close the week at $3.78. SSL Venture Capital Jamaica had the second highest gains, up 26% to end the week at $1.50 a share. And Main Event Entertainment Group gained 9% to close at $6.17. On the losing side now, Dolphin Cove took the biggest price hit last week, losing nearly 15% to close at $9.30. Jamaica Stock Exchange was the second biggest loser, down nearly 12% to close at $27.50, and Stanley Motta lost 11% of its share price, closing at $5.32. This segment of Taking Stock, The Analysts, is brought to you by Proven Wealth, Jamaica Money Market Brokers, and NCB Capital Markets.
Welcome back to Taking Stock. I've got a team of analysts to examine the week in business. We're joined by Haughton Richards. He's an investment analyst at Proven Wealth. Gino Harriott is a junior research analyst at NCB Capital Markets, and Orick Angus is an investment analyst as well. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome for the first time to Orick.
Thank you, Kalila.
So I actually want to start with Gino, because you guys have an offer on the market, and that's the Mailpac offer. You already heard that lumber depot open and close within a minute, Mayberry. And so those listening and watching, we tape the show on a Friday. So as of Friday at 3 p.m., where's Mailpac? It closed yet?
It has not been closed as yet, but I foresee it closing by end of the latest Monday. So, latest Monday, but I can't give any other information on the closure of Mailpac.
All right, I'm sure by the time the show comes out, we'll have some more news to report.
Definitely.
Yeah, but you were telling me something interesting too, that you, the broker, don't necessarily decide when it closes.
It was actually stipulated by the JSE that the issuer can choose when to close the IPO and not necessarily the broker.
Okay, I didn't know that. Well, let's go into your assessment. So, Haughton, what's your take on lumber? Even though it's closed already, it's going to be trading on the open markets soon. So what's your perspective on it?
For me, Lumber Depot really, it's fairly, so I've been operating under Blue Power before, it has historicals. This is the first time they're going to be a standalone entity. They're going to be operating by themselves, have their own scrutiny. When you look at that industry that they operate in, what they really do with that is supply construction equipment, so from live fixtures to plyboard. So one of the things with Lumber Depot is that they're relatively small. So while they're the highest revenue generator for Blue Power, they're relatively small in comparison to their peers. Their only location is at Papine. So in terms of island-wide reach, it's hard
And
to
their peers
see.
would be like a True Value.
So True Value is a bigger player. They have smaller players who are still bigger than them, such as Stewart's, Hardware Lumber,
Right.
Phil's. So I mean, so never going so as far as to say Super Value and True Value, just even the other smaller players who have larger outlets. That's something that you need to pay attention to when you think about Lumber Depot. So while they have grown historically in their own space, when you talk about future potential, you have to like keep in mind that, hey, there are other players in the market. That type of industry, their margins are thin. And by margins, we mean that if you make $1 billion in revenue, they can only give me a small amount in millions in profit, a very thin margin. So those are some of the risks like a person has to take into consideration when they think about Lumber Depot. Their biggest customers is really the construction industry. So we view the construction industry as one that is continuously growing historically and growing now because of the recent developments, whether that be in the infrastructure such as the road work, whether it be in commercial and real estate. So their customers are there, but how much customers can they get given that they have that one location? The prospectus didn't give us much insight in terms of their futuristic growth plan right now, in terms of what do they plan to do, in terms of to expand that operation. So those are some of the things that people need to take into consideration in terms of when they start buying Lumber Depot, when it starts trading. Like, those are the things that they should be keeping in their mind, like how do they plan to capture more? How do they plan to scale their operations? That's one of the biggest things I think for Lumber Depot as it is right now.
Orick, let me hear from you on lumber. Why do you think there was such strong demand for it? Or is it because it's just a small amount they were seeking?
As good as the Lumber Depot be, people are seeking short-term capital. Obviously, it's a fair value. The net margins are above 20%, so and the PE is like average 7.5. So yes, it's very attractive. There should be some short-term uptick based on the demand. Obviously, one would not get the full allotment, so there will be short-term demand for it as well. The demand has been really good this week for both that and Mailpac.
What's your take on lumber, Gino?
I think both Haughton and Orick covered it, but I wanted to also point out another positive, which would be the increase in employment that would bode well for the Lumber Depot, because as you know, they serve retail clients. So therefore, with the increase in...
You mean the general increase in Jamaica?
The general increase in the
employment numbers.
In employment numbers will definitely bode well for their revenues and their profits. And also to point out some other statistic is that the company has grown its revenues at a compounded annual growth rate of 10%, which is a positive also for the Lumber Depot.
And they're projecting 15% over the next 2 years. 50, why are you chuckling?
No, I'm just saying, because their growth is, as I said, the one outlet, and they're competing with a lot of players. So even though the industry grows well, it's really how can they capture really that growth in the construction industry, their clients, like how much of it can they really grow. So just have to wait and see.
Oh, okay. What else do you have your eye on lately?
Well, in the market this week, also the Mailpac IPO, really and truly, because this is a new type of product that's coming to our market. We haven't seen an e-commerce kind of business to our market. The Mailpac, particularly what caught my attention was they restructured the company in such a way that they have both e-commerce with the international aspect, and then they have Mailpac local. So what you really find for this type of product, you have to be mindful of some of the constraints, some of the risks, because it's a new type of company. And then outside of that is also one where the market information are readily available. So you have a lot of players in the market, but you're not sure of who is market leaders. But I would definitely
claim they're the market leaders.
I'll definitely give Mailpac the edge because the visibility is there. You're seeing them in the market. You're also, if you're a customer, I'm a customer, I can definitely say their technology is top notch. I can always say their technology is good. So those are some of the parts that Mailpac has. Again, just like Lumber Depot, it's a wait and see to see how well can they really operate in this space, especially how correlated they are to like consumer spending. If consumer spending goes down, people are going to shop less. How do they mitigate against that, seeing that that's one of their main sources of revenue? So those are some of the things that I play around in my head to figure out what are some of the plans.
How are you feeling on Mailpac, Orick?
Mailpac Group was recently formed, so they couldn't have provided too much financial information, but that was a key question asked by many potential investors.
Wouldn't it have worked if they provided the information of the previous groups?
I think it would have been more
Mailpac services
more
and Mailpac
transparent.
local.
Right,
It would have been
They
more
could have done
transparent, and people would feel more comfortable moving towards. But in addition to Haughton, if I had to rank them in order, based on the demand that I've experienced this week, it would have been Mailpac, the Lumber, and then the Sagicor would follow thereafter.
So why do you think there's not as much demand for Sagicor?
Well, with Sagicor, I think mainly because people have already gotten a taste of it with the Select Fund finance. So people there's not many questions really around the manufacturing and distribution. So it's the same concept. As I said, they're just creating a company that's going to be tracking that particular index. And I know we have said before that index is one that has futuristic growth, especially those companies that plan to export. A lot of blue chip companies, CCC with Cinco. I mean, you're familiar with those companies.
Lumber probably is going to end up on the manufacturing
Lumber should be there,
index.
but seeing that they're a junior market company, there'll be a very small percentage of it, but they will be a part of it, right? So for people who don't get into the Lumber Depot, they can probably try it with the Select Fund to get some exposure. So I think it is because people have already seen this type of product from Sagicor, particularly maybe that's why the traction isn't there. But also the risk profile for persons with all three IPOs are different. Lumber Depot and Mailpac are more high-risk investors, really people who want to try these new companies, see what they have, lack of historical information, lack of market data, it's really high risk. Sagicor Select Fund, the manufacturing and distribution, that one now is, Sagicor's track record. You're already seeing how financial services, that particular index has performed. This one is for more risk-averse investors, more conservative. This one, you can just participate in the IPO, you can just watch your money grow as the index grows. So it's for different type of investors that all three IPOs will grab each person's attention, really.
Gino, you think the performance of Select Fund Financial is hurting the prospects for the new fund because the share price has been falling?
I think it definitely is, but I think the market today has really spoiled investors because Sagicor Select Fund is still offering investors an increase on their investment. I think it's at 109,
right.
Which is a 9% increase on your investment. But because investors were spoiled by Haughton, spoiled by the lab, which gave them I think 200% increase on your money, and 50%, almost 100% no from Haughton, right?
Right.
So I think the market is
300% on Fontana.
And 300% on Fontana. So I think the market is spoiled, and I think it definitely will impact how many investors go into the Sagicor manufacturing index. But I am still bullish on the manufacturing index for the long term because of the companies that are within the portfolio.
Yeah, we're talking with Cinco, we're talking Carib Cement.
So Separate.
Fontana's in there too, Separate.
Yes, Separate. I mostly want to point out Separate because I was doing some research on them recently, and I realized that with the type of developments that they're looking to do, to grow the export by 25% annually, the tariff that they're seeking that they're trying to get the CARICOM to impose on condensed milk, which would increase their profit share and allow them to supply at least 75% of the regional market for the Caribbean, as well as they have wrapped up 2 deals and is looking to secure the final deal. And the final thing that they're doing is that the closure of their sugar factory, which was burdening their profits. So by next year, we should see Seprad's profits increasing by approximately 50%, 60%.
So keep your eye on Separate.
So keep your eye on Separate.
And if you have it, hold it.
And if you have it, hold it. But I think the market now, the reason why Separate isn't going up is because now it has a high PE. But as we price to earnings, but as you know, the earnings has been influenced by the high expenses that the company has to be paying for the closure of the factory, as well as the redundancy payments that they have to be making. So with this office books, it is expected that the PE will now go down further as the earnings increase.
And that's a good thing.
And that's a good thing.
Okay. Orick, I'm going to give you the last word. The Select Fund. Should investors be worried that it's now at $1.09, or do you think it would or should go back up?
I'm very bullish on it as well. I think it should go back up. This week has kind of been a little scary coming off the earnings season last week, but it was really overshadowed by the three new issues in the market. So investors were taking back a lot of capital to invest in these three IPOs. Based on track record, both the manufacturing and the financial sectors have been the top performing ones. So I do think over a long-term period of time, the select funds is one to really look at, and it gives you that immediate exposure to all different kind of companies in both sectors respectively. So I'm not worried by the 9% that is at now. That's actually a good thing. And for the manufacturing fund, I should expect similar performance.
Okay, thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
Always good insights.
Yeah.
We take our final break. We'll be back with more.
Taking Stock, the Analysts was brought to you by Proven Wealth, Jamaica Money Market Brokers at NCB Capital Market.
And that's our show for this week. Thanks for watching, and check out my other features: Money Mondays JA, Money Moves JA, and What's in It for Me. On Money Mondays JA this week, you can check out my overview of the Lumber Depot IPO. Thanks again for watching. That's our show. I'm Kalila Reynolds. See you next week.